Hello and welcome. Happy Valentine's Day. Oh, so excited to be with you. Yes, welcome, welcome, welcome. I am coming to you live right now on Facebook. And so, those of you that are joining me live, I would love to know who's here and just give me a little shout out over there in the chat box. That'd be awesome. And I know probably many of you are picking this up at a later moment in our infinite timeline of life. So you can't give me a little chat, but I just am warmly, warmly welcoming you wherever you may be on the planet, however it is that you are tuning in or finding this video. I'm really so excited to be with you and to celebrate this day of love for this little short program. Oh, I love to see the hearts popping up on the Facebook screen. Thank you so much. And this is about being your own lover first, which seemed like a very important, near and dear to my heart transmission offering to give you today on Valentine's Day. So I also promised you, I know a lot of you are here, you're already connected to me through awakeningshakti.com, which is really the hub and place where my work emanates from. And so, I promised you the biggest red rose for Valentine's Day that maybe you've ever seen. So you can see that behind me. I'm just gonna step aside so you can have a real look at her. This is a painting that goes and goes and goes, right? It's about 5 feet by 6 feet large, this canvas. I wish I had time to tell you the whole story about how this particular rose came into my life, but I can tell you that I courted her. I stalked her for about a decade before I managed to figure out how to purchase her. And I want to give a shout out. It's here listed on the post in Facebook, but I want to give it a shout out to the artist of this incredible painting. Her name is Lauren Forcella. You can find her at laurenforcella.com. She's a friend of mine. Our children went to school together at the Waldorf School. And this rose, as you can probably feel, has quite an incredible frequency of the divine feminine. Her dark, mysterious portal of energy, very yoni-like, and her beauty and her opening. So I just wanted to beam this session with you today by standing right in front of her. So I'm also really, really delighted that she's back in my life. I've lived in a tiny little apartment for the last 4 years, my little cave as I came out of a long-term marriage and my big, ginormous house, and I needed to really cocoon and honor this process of the midlife rebirthing that happens for us that we call perimenopause or menopause. I'm really gearing up to talk to you more about that, but I've really been in my own process with it. Anyway, I didn't have room for her. So my dear husband has actually been housing Miss Rose for the last many years. And I have just moved. I just moved literally less than a few days ago. It was the first thing that we did was get the rose up on the wall. So this is a really special moment to me here on Valentine's Day to be able to share it with you. So with that, I would like to just invite us into a moment of anchoring ourselves in the moment. So we're going to have about 30 minutes today. I'm going to share with you these 3 secrets to being your own best lover and tell you about how to keep that alive in your life. I've got an offer I'd like to give you at the end. So that's what we're up to today. In this moment, I'm just going to invite you to close your eyes if you feel to, or if you would like to meditate for a moment with this big, beautiful rose, I'm going to stand out of the way a little bit so that you can maybe make her big screen on your device, whatever you might be joining me with, and just allow yourself to meditate on this beautiful rose, this beautiful red rose. And maybe you can place a hand on your heart if that feels good to you. And just take some deep breaths just for a few moments here to check in with your breath, with your own body, particularly your heart today, your breasts, which are the guardians to this beautiful, magnificent heart of yours. Welcoming yourself to this moment, to just being present. It's possible for you to really give yourself the gift of just unplugging from other distractions and give yourself the gift of just being here with you, with your own heart, with your own body, with your own sacred essence as a woman. And we might have a few men out there too. And just feeling into who you are in this moment, your connection to your breath, your connection to your body, and most particularly your root system. If you can just send a little energy down wherever you are to the earth and feel yourself as one with her. Let yourself relax. Exhale any stress that maybe you might have accumulated in your body, and just exhale and give yourself the gift of this breath into presence, into your own perfection, who you really are, into your Shakti, the power that is you, that is feminine in nature, that is our universal power. Just letting yourself receive that from this beautiful rose, from the earth, from all the places that it is beaming to you right now. Just taking another breath there. If you've had your eyes closed, I invite you to open them. And also, I'm going to just bring an inquiry to you right now, which is, how do you feel about Valentine's Day? How do you feel about this particular holiday? And just notice. I just want to speak into some possible places that we might be as a collective, right? It could be that you love Valentine's Day, that it's just one of your favorite holidays. It could be that you really hate Valentine's Day, that it really brings up a lot of stuff for you. Maybe somebody that you really love is missing in your life, that special he or she hasn't arrived yet, that we might call the beloved. Or maybe you're in the process of heartbreak or loss around someone that you love. This holiday can bring up a lot of feelings for us, a lot of pain for us. And so you might be in that place too. You might be just overwhelmed and over the whole thing, that's just all too commercial and yuck and ugh, Hallmark, that whole thing. You might be in a country where you're like, what are you talking about? We don't even celebrate Valentine's Day in our country. Yeah, so we're just opening ourselves to welcome all of that. These teachings that I'm bringing you, called Awakening Shakti, have their roots in Tantra and in sacred sexuality. Tantra, this beautiful spiritual path from the East that is about embracing all of life, right? The good, the bad, the ugly as whole and one. And so let us embrace whatever might be here for us around this particular holiday, wherever you might be feeling in your body right now. as part of the wholeness, as part of the tantra of the moment. I personally don't have a lot of energy about Valentine's Day. I'm one of those people that feels like any excuse to celebrate a day of love is good with me. But I also feel like that is our sacred task and our sacred joy to do every day, right? To celebrate love every day. And so that's a little bit where I'm coming from. And yet I felt very much a call, even in the midst of all the chaos of boxes and moving. We had a power outage this morning. I was like, whoa, I don't think this is even happening today, right? There's been a lot of chaos, and yet here it is in its perfection. Power came back on. Thank you, Goddess. So that we could do this together. And I had a client yesterday who said to me, I always think of these Awakening Shakti practices on Valentine's Day. And I was like, wow, that's so special. Because what I'm going to share with you is really about how do we embody love? How do we embrace pleasure as a gateway into the divine? This is part of what we're really working with, dancing with, playing with, when we talk about awakening Shakti. So I'm so happy to have this moment with you, wherever you're at. And for me, personally, I really do feel like every day is Valentine's Day. If we're new to each other, you might not know that I just got married in the fall, and that I am just so blissed out. I am so happy. I am so deeply in love, and I am so incredibly passionately turned on in my own body and with my beloved husband. And we've been together going on 8 years. We've just decided to get married, and literally moving into this new space together is the first time we've ever lived together. So we've only been cohabitating for the last few days. And we are really, truly in the relationship of my dreams. I was married for 20 years in my first marriage. I'm dear friends with my husband, but I wasn't always like this. It wasn't always like this for me, right? You might be listening to me like, wow, great for you to talk about being your own lover first. You've got like this amazing relationship with this man you're crazy about. And it's true. He brings me tea every morning because that makes me happy. And honestly, he brings me a beautiful bouquet of roses about once a month, right? So at this time of the year around Valentine's Day, we're both like, yeah, don't buy the roses. They jack the price up for Valentine's Day. I love roses, and he knows I love roses. And so that's just something he does because it delights him to see me get all giddy and excited when he brings me roses, right? So these kinds of little romantic things, we kind of fall all over each other, doing them for each other, leaving little notes for each other every day. That's how we want to live. This is what's important. But again, it wasn't always like this for me. And so why I feel so passionately about beaming this particular topic to you today is that I truly believe it was the deep work that I did inside of a marriage that wasn't passionate, where sex and connection that way didn't come easily, where there was a lot of frustration and a lot of blaming of like, why can't you do this? And why can't you do that? And if you just did this, I would be more turned on, right? And it was the contrast of that actually brought me to these teachings, right? That had us go explore the tantric path and work together to, make that marriage work, which it did for as long as it did until it dissolved. But this piece around being our own lover first was the beginning of a whole new way of being for me as a woman, because I was very dominated by the hypermasculine model of doing and accomplishing and letting everybody know how to do it, including my husband, how he could do it in bed that would make it better for me, right? So I was very much in my masculine energy, right? I'm a professional woman, and I know how to be successful in a man's world, right? Like a lot of you do. but that was very unsuccessful for me in terms of my relationship, particularly my relationship to my own body, right? I didn't have access to what turned me on the way that I do now, right? I didn't have access to the ecstasy that I feel in my body all the time, the way that I do now. And that's a result of learning through these Awakening Shakti teachings how to be my own lover first. I believe that process in my life, which was probably a decade-long process, and it certainly isn't over, but I believe it was that process, right? And having, frankly, some very initiatory relationships and sexual experiences when I was single for 5 years, that brought me to a place where I was ready to call in the one, which was important to me. Might not be to you. You might be blissed out and happy being single. So I'm not saying that you should want to have a relationship. I am saying for me that was really important. And I love being with the man of my dreams and being our own lover first, regardless of how old you are or what your sexual orientation is or your relationship status is. This feeling of being alive in your Shakti is the promise of everything that I have to offer you as a teacher. So let's talk about these 3 keys. I want to give you 3 keys to make this come alive for you. And this is really the root of all of the teachings that I offer in Awakening Shakti. And if you have pencil and paper, you can just visualize this as well. There's actually a beautiful symbol for this, and it's a circle on the top. This is for our spirit, right? So imagine a circle, below that, a heart. That's obviously for our heart. And then below that, a downward facing triangle. Let's tip the computer down, right? The downward facing triangle. I'm not tall enough, right? Boom. And this sacred symbol of the downward facing triangle connects us to our womb and to our yoni or our vagina, our sex center, our root system, points us to the earth, right? So this is all about the body. So we have a circle, a heart, and a downward facing triangle, right? Body, heart, and soul. So around our soul, being our own best lover, I really want to ask you to attune to how you are honoring your spiritual life, because we are living, for the most part, in a culture that does not honor that continues to reinforce that there is a separation everywhere in life from what is sacred and soulful and what is normal life. Right? So this is an inquiry for you. You might have a meditation practice, right? You might have different ways that you bring soul into your life. And I want to offer to you that having sanctuary for your soul is so important, not just for you individually, but to make sure that you are plugged into supportive community, and particularly, I would say, sisterhood that supports you to know yourself as the goddess, that invites you to really feel what is sacred in your life and your own divinity. This is core and critical, I believe, to being your own lover, right? To feel this dance of your own masculine and feminine, your own Shiva and Shakti that's happening inside, that actually created who you are. That is actually you at the core. So that's a little piece about the soul. And then let's drop down into this beautiful heart of yours. Oh, if you can place your hand on your own breasts. These are the sacred guardians of your heart, and they also play such a phenomenal role in your sexual turn on, right? We need to be met at the heart, most of us as women, before the rest of our body will open and feel safe enough to feel pleasure and turn on. So here at the heart, I want you to just practice with me for a moment, feeling the essence of love, because the source of it is not outside of you. We know this. If only I could have someone to love me. Yes, I want that for you. Of course, I want that for you. But that feeling of love is not dependent on another. So take a couple breaths into your own heart right now and just feel the texture, the essence of love, not thinking about it, but that love is who you are. And to whatever degree you can right now, I'm just going to invite you to breathe into that heart, breathe into that feeling of love, and imagine that it is back filling your breasts. Imagine that it is filling up your back as well, and that it is moving out to both sides of you and above you, that it is a ball of energy, of love energy, that is radiating out just like a sun in all directions. Because most certainly in the tantric teachings, if you're in a female body, this is your solar center. This is the place where you are most radiant and you are most penetrating with your energy, is through your heart chakra. And so allow that to fill every cell of your body. Feel gratitude. You might think of something that you're grateful for, but I want you to actually allow that feeling, the sensation meaning maybe it has a vibration, it has some movement, maybe it has a feeling that shifts the temperature, right? But see if you can just attune to the sensation of love in your heart. Because right here, it's actually unconditional. Right? It is the mind that places conditions. Oh, I would love my body if I lost 20 pounds. Right? Those are conditions. That's the conditional love. But when we drop right here into the sensation of love, our power center, then we are actually letting ourselves be just saturated with the pure essence of it. And so I want to invite you to the best of your ability right now to give yourself that gift, to appreciate, give gratitude to yourself for showing up to spend a few minutes with me, because that's the kind of person that you are, and that's beautiful. That's beautiful. It's our third key, right? Is the heart. And practices around the heart, and practices around allowing ourselves to feel and ride the waves of our somewhat tumultuous emotional life, right? This is key to being our own lover first. And then allow that energy to drop down, hopefully it is already, down into the womb space, into your yoni, into your hips. And here I'm just going to invite you, because it's Valentine's Day, to just offer yourself some touch. Maybe it's on your back, your lower back. If it's you're in a good place, you're in a private place, and you can place a hand gently cupped over the mound of your yoni, your sacred portal into the soul of this beautiful feminine body of yours. And allow yourself here to feel pleasure. Maybe it's a little tiny bit of pleasure, or maybe as you give yourself a green light to feel pleasure in your body, you might actually feel some warmth radiating out. Because this is another key to being your own lover, is that your sexual energy is a gift, is your birthright. And no matter what has happened to you, my dear sister, in terms of the trauma or abuse in your life, I want you to know that you can regenerate your feeling here. If you feel numbed out, burned out, you've given up, or you find you're giving in around your sexual energy, that you can awaken the Shakti here. I promise you, no matter what's happened. I'm not pretending that that's easy, but I am offering you encouragement, inspiration, and support for that. And so maybe feel inside your own sex center, your sexual energy. You might do a little love pump there. You might know this as a Kegel, just to say, I love you. I love you. I love you. Now, for me, I didn't feel a lot of sexual energy in my life. Well, I can tell you right now that just doing 3 of these little love pumps is ricocheting the Kundalini Shakti through my body, making me feel quite orgasmic. But I'm somebody who wants to walk around in life in a mild state of orgasm. I am somebody who thinks it's very important to walk around in life with ecstasy. That doesn't mean we're spiritually bypassing all the horrendous things that are happening in the world. It doesn't mean that we're not feeling deeply for the life and the world and the tragedies that are happening, the very, very real social issues that we're dealing with, environmental issues, racism. There are some really, really intense things that we're feeling right now. And one of our resources for coping, for getting out there, being activists, being fierce lovers, and fierce stands for love in the world, we need to be continually resourced in order to do that. And I would offer to you that your authentic pleasure, your Shakti, your sexuality is your best resource for the fuel that you need. Not just to cope with life the way that it is right now, but to thrive in it, right? To be the lover and the mother and the leader that you are. And so just taking another moment to appreciate this body that's aging, this body that has wrinkles and cellulite and maybe gray hairs and is too this or too that, right? Or not enough or da 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 da. Just appreciate the gift of being alive right now. And know that none of those things are dependent on you sourcing your Shakti, your pleasure, your sensuality. Because you were born for this and you are designed for this, right? Your yoni is such a miracle. Can't get into that right now, but boy, do I have a lot to share with you about that. All right. So body, heart, spirit, and soul, these are your 3 keys to being your own best lover, right? And I want to ask you, how are you keeping these alive in your life? Maybe they're very active for you. Maybe one's more active than the other. What I want to tell you is please don't go it alone. The culture will, for the most part, not support you to love yourself this way, to feel that constant connection to your pleasure and your sacredness and your heart as a woman, which is why it is so important that we stay connected to tribe and circles that help us remember that. And so if you want to stay connected here with me, many of you already are. If you're not, if you found this through one of the social media channels, please go to awakeningshakti.com/joygasm. You can get connected to my list so that we can be in communication. You can I do lots of things for free, as well as more extensive programs and personal coaching. So please check that out. I'm just so happy to be connected to you. And I want to thank you so much for being present and for taking this time. I hope that something of value is coming out of this for you. I'd love to just hear one thing that you're taking away. Just one thing that maybe is something that I said, or perhaps it's just something that occurred to you or arose for you, maybe out of the rose portal right there, because that's what I'm up to. I believe that we need now more than ever women to really feel connected to their Shakti, right? To their body, heart, and soul, because we need all of our voices out there, right? For all of the loving and the mothering and the leading that we're doing in our businesses, in our families, in our communities. And this is the way that I have found that is most effective for opening the doors and reducing all that hyper masculine stress and cortisol. When we feel our pleasure, when we feel connected to our Shakti, we become radiant and we become magnetic. And we become magic and miracle makers with so much less effort, right? We call in the friends, the support, the beloveds. I cannot tell you the abundance that I live in. And it wasn't always like this for me. It was very much, it's been an ongoing blossoming and unfurling, just like this beautiful rose, the more connected that I get to what I call Shakti. It would be my joy to continue to support you with that. Thank you so much for being here. Happy, happy Valentine's Day. If you have any questions whatsoever, please put them here in the chat on Facebook, or feel free to email me at lisa@awakeningshakti.com, and you'll find that I'm quite accessible. I will reply to you here, or I will get back to you on the email.